Great. Well, I'm going to run through a presentation and there's a little bit of interaction in this. So hopefully you will enjoy that and participate with me. But my pronouns are she and her, and I'm a campaigner with the Center for Biological Diversity. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you. I have 15 years of working in waste, forestry, and conservation before I got a master's in public health. So for just a quick summary, if you're not familiar with the center, we're a national nonprofit conservation organization that works through a combination of science, the law, organizing, and creative media to protect wildlife and the wild places they need to thrive. So on the screen, you're seeing all of our different programs, and I'm in the Population and Sustainability program. So why are we here today to talk about simplifying our holidays? Well, the United States is 5% of the world's population, but uses 30% of all resources and creates 30% of all waste. The average American has an environmental footprint 60% larger than most Europeans and nearly 700% larger than the average person in most African countries, which is what this graph is depicting. You're probably familiar with this graph from the EPA or one specific to your community, but as we know, food and plastics are big categories on this chart, and 40% of waste is thrown away, and we generate a lot of that during the holidays. And as for plastics, 40% of plastic produced is packaging, which is often used just once and then discarded. And this also increases during the giving season. So as I said, I've been in this work for a while, and I remember 20 years ago hearing this statistic that we generate more waste during the holidays, and I could not find the citation for it, and I wasn't sure if it was still accurate. Well, hot off the presses, we did an analysis this summer, and we found that Americans generate 23% more tons of waste in December than other months of the year. So we've created a bunch of shareables like the one you're seeing on the screen. We would love to get this in your newsletter, and I will give a link to where you can grab some of these shareables in the rest of my talk. So we published a report in 2020 based off almost 1,000 national survey responses. And through that, we learned that 3 out of 4 people in the United States think the average American consumes too many natural resources. In that same survey, we asked people about their current behaviors and their willingness to change their behavior. And 67% say they're currently reducing their personal consumption, and 82% are willing to do that, but 31% need more information. So hopefully all of us in this collective are working towards that goal. But I just want to say it isn't necessarily that cut and dry. So I'm sure you've heard of the recent supply chain issues, whether that's the combination of workers sick with COVID, lack of shipping containers, labor shortages, or natural disasters caused by climate change. It's all contributing to this thinking that traditional material gifts are going to be hard to find this year. So you might also know about this graphic. It's from the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, but it kind of depicts what we're talking about here when we think about the supply chain. The real crux of the issue is transportation. So there's transportation issues along all of these graphics here. So experts are predicting that we're going to have supply chain issues, even for those environmentally friendly gifts that may be difficult, right? So your bikes, electric vehicles, energy efficient appliances, durable clothes are going to be hard to find also. And according to this survey, this came out just last week, consumers are going to spend almost $1,500 on gifts, travel, and entertainment during this season. And that's a 13% increase from pre-pandemic 2019 holiday seasons. And in 2021, the majority of holiday shoppers say they're going to favor companies with strong environmental, social, and governance business practices. And 56% say they're going to buy more from local and independent stores. So the supply chain issues may jumpstart some systemic alterations to how we produce and consume goods that last beyond the season. And we need to look for new business models that shift to these closed material loops, things like extended producer responsibility or the solidarity economy. And I don't need to tell folks on this call that waste systems built around reuse, refill, repair, borrowing, sharing, finally recycling and composting create good local jobs and resilient, equitable communities. And I know next month you're going to talk about reuse, which is awesome. But this is a both end situation. So not only do we need to change systems level issues, we want to work at the individual level to instill societal norms, nourish connection, community, sustainability, to build a healthy and diverse community. So I want to share with you some ideas that you can do to improve that by walking through the campaigns on the screen. But I just want to acknowledge that when we talk about consumption and we do this with an equitable lens, some folks might need to consume less. Some may just need to consume differently. And for others, even in the United States, people may need to consume more. And that may be in relationship to food, clothing, and shelter, but it could also be things in relationship that would bring them joy. So we call this conscious consumption. All right, so I hope you take the time to go through these websites while I'm talking so that you can actually kind of play around in them. But I wanted to kind of ask, before I go any further, type in the chat, what emotion comes up for you when you think of the holidays? And I will give it a few minutes here, or seconds, I guess. What emotion comes up when you think about the winter holidays? Busy, but family, emotion, money, spending. It's relaxing, friends and family, time off. All right, well, thank you for indulging me in that. When people talk about why they love the holidays, they usually describe spending time with friends and family, which we saw, eating good food, having fun and relaxing. So you guys were spot on right there. So we really think it's time to celebrate holidays wrapped in more meaning and less stuff. So hopefully our Simplify the Holidays website can provide you with various tools and resources to create a low waste holiday tradition in your home or have information to share with others. So again, we'd love for you to put this in your newsletters, community members, share with students, employees. So let me go ahead and this URL in the chat and feel free to peruse that while I'm talking. So on the website, you're going to find gift guides, information about creating earth-friendly traditions, deep dives into various holiday seasons. Under the better gift giving section, you'll find how to talk to your family about this when you want to do an alternative gift exchange, or different ways of doing alternative gift exchange. And then a lot of information about experiential gift giving, which was part of my master's thesis. So on the gift guides, you're going to link to various Pinterest pages. So if you're familiar with those, that has tons of different creative ideas. And as I mentioned it before, we really hope that you take the opportunity to support your local businesses, those owned by women, Black, Indigenous, people of color, or support your local reuse organizations to help build these circular economy solutions. So really quickly, on the Pinterest page, you're going to find DIY handmade gift ideas. These are examples from my coworker, Sarah. This does not happen to be a category for me. I am not a crafty person, but we've got dryer lint balls, a repurposed desk, and a t-shirt quilt that she has made. This next category is quality time and skill sharing. So you're seeing a list of some of these ideas on the screen. Honestly, research shows that the gift of time is extremely valuable to people. So I would think about this as an alternative gift that, means you don't have to buy a material gift. Also on the site, you'll find Pinterest guides to learn about charitable gift giving. So I'm sure many of us are with nonprofits here. You could think about making a donation to your favorite, plastics-free organization. But yeah, this is an analysis we did about giving a plush toy versus actually driving to a wildlife center. And you can see here that there's less CO2 generated, even though you'll be driving to a wildlife center. So an experience, I just want to say, does not have to be a big trip. That's where a lot of people's minds go when you think about giving an experiential gift, but it could be a gift card to a museum or a national park membership, cooking or art classes, maybe just being, a tourist in your own city for one day. Finally, edible gifts, who doesn't love this? We kind of sometimes call these consumables. So, cookies, favorite comfort food, or maybe that special bottle of organic wine. But this is an analysis we did between, providing somebody a steak dinner and up to 7 plant-based meals. And of course, we see much less CO2 emitted with the plant-based meals. Another website we have that you can play around in is So Kind, and I'm gonna put that in the chat also. So this is a registry or wish list service. It is fully customizable that allows you to request gifts that are truly meaningful to you. So as you can see on the screen, you can pick from these different categories that I was kind of describing before from the Simplify the Holidays site, but this also includes a secondhand gift as an option. And since this was created in 2013, 15,000 alternative gifts have been given. This happens to be an example of a wish list that I created. And so this is kind of what you share with somebody when your mother-in-law says, what do you want for Christmas, right? So it's just like a wedding registry, but you can pick and choose what you want. I will say that no money exchanges hands on this site. So if you want an experience of like going to a museum, then you would want to link to the museum's website and put that in here so that people could buy you that experience. All right, and then on the site, you can also create a give list. So this is essentially a reverse registry function that allows people to know what skills, hobbies, or things that you're willing to share with others. So you can kind of see how you're with a request and give function. This is similar to now Free Cycle or Buy Nothing groups, but it really is geared towards celebration gift giving. It has a different look and feel for that purpose. And those are often very hyper local, but these could be done on a national basis. You don't need to necessarily be based in the same geography. So I just want to end by sharing a personal story with you. And this is going to show the privilege that I had as a child. But for me, I have a family that loves to shop. In fact, my mom and dad met at Macy's. They worked together in New York. And so I grew up in retail and I was dressing mannequins and stocking store shelves as a child. And the picture of me that you'll see in the little dress with Christmas trees behind me was at a time when my dad actually owned and operated a Christmas store. So asking my family not to buy gifts was a real shift. And you can see all of the items around me as a child during Christmas on the other photo. Well, in 2019, I created an online wish list and I shared that with my family. And my mom did a great job giving me an experiential gift, despite all the barriers of not living in the same area. So it really does show that if one is motivated enough and has the right tools, it can be done. And if you look at the picture with my niece and mother-in-law on this slide, you can see that there's a lot less waste. And I'm kind of really proud of that I have brought that to my family's Christmas experiences. So while we do need to change policy that would make it easier to consume consciously through durable and repairable goods, through improved corporate transparency, and while we need policy to build a circular economy that supports sharing, borrowing, and reuse, and we need to require companies to be accountable for the ultimate disposal of the products and packaging they put out, individuals do have a role to play. So Make a pledge this afternoon to give one or more alternative gifts this holiday season. And social science shows that when you make that pledge public, it is more likely that you're going to follow through. So if you want to do that, feel free to type into the chat, I pledge to give one or more experiential or alternative gifts. All right, so on this resource slide, you're seeing some of the links that I've already shared, both of the websites. We also are looking for additional testimonials to put on our site, so I will throw that in the chat. And the different social media shareables. So these would be great for newsletters and social media accounts. It includes the pictures, the graphics that are in the presentation, but also draft posts. And yeah, and then finally, if you're interested in keeping up to date on this type of work from the center, you can opt in to various periodic emails. So I am going to put all of those in the chat right now. And I see some people pledging to give alternative gifts. Yeah. Hopefully I didn't take too much time. I tried to rush it a little bit.
That was great.
Thank you, Kelley.